Let's talk some philosophy. Have you heard of the perceived value psychology? It's a linchpin of today's marketing. Two identical white t-shirts. One has a small logo in the corner, it costs $200. The other is $20. What changed is what we believed about it. That's the psychology of perceived value. I've been thinking how it shows up outside of products in people too, in how we assume the confident person is more capable, how we listen more intently to someone who speaks with certainty, how we often confuse visibility with worthiness. Our society is kind of built around assigning value through context, scarcity, reputation, packaging, tone. It's how marketing works. It's also how insecurity thrives. Because when we live in a world that rewards perception, we start curating ourselves like a product. We smile wider, talk louder, shrink softer parts of us because they don't sell as well. Somewhere in that transaction, we tend to forget that real value never needed branding. It makes me think, how much of ourselves are we constantly, even subconsciously, hiding or steamrolling just to raise our own perceived value? How much objective value do we trade for a slightly better position in someone else's mental market? At the same time, is there even such a thing as objective value? Can we truly say person A is worth X and person B is worth Y? Financially, sure, but money itself is imagined. Does that even count as objective? From a nihilistic perspective, you could argue that there is no such thing as inherent value at all, that nothing really happens if we don't exist. On the other end, if our presence makes someone's life even a little better, then our so-called value is technically infinite, because there's no measuring scale for what can't be exactly replaced. No formula for how your existence altered someone else's. Yes, nihilism might argue back that since their life also lacks objective meaning, the value you added isn't meaningful either. Maybe not everything needs to obey objectivity. Maybe meaning doesn't have to be measurable to matter. Which makes me wonder, while we change ourselves to fit the perceived value system of a small earthly society, in the absence of a universal objective value, is perceived value also how we try to make sense of existence on a cosmic scale? Because this whole idea of value is our mind's way of saying, I want to matter to something bigger than me. Now, what exactly counts as bigger is an extension for another day. Once you understand perceived value on a grander scale, maybe we can stop changing for it on the small earthly society scale? That even our perceived value has a larger meaning to it. It's not something that's defined by a fellow human who is figuring it out just as you are. We can realize that confidence isn't arrogance, it's simply self-belief expressed, that we don't need to prove we're valuable to exist, we just need to stop discounting ourselves. Because restricted value perceived externally will always fluctuate. Grander value understood internally becomes rooted. Be gentle with yourself. Do you think a larger perceived value is a way existence could make sense?